Guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. So, guys, there's a lot of shenanigans going on between Terence Crawford and Bob Arum. Terence Crawford today in an interview with DAZN and Barack, I believe, he said, "Bob Arum, if I'm losing you so much money, and I'm not an asset and I'm a loss for you, release me then. Release me." Terence Crawford, out of frustration, has come out and said, Bob Arum, release me. I've never ever said that I'm leaving Top Rank. I've never ever said that I'm not, I'm going to leave, and he's basically saying these are all rumors that obviously Bob's probably listened to, and he's attacked me saying that, I could have bought, Bob Arum basically said that, Terence Crawford is losing him money, and if he counts all the money that he's lost him in the last couple of fights, he could buy a house in Beverly Hills. I can't believe Bob Arum has come out and said that. When you're a fighter or you're a promoter, that's surely not something you should be saying about your fighter. Clearly that relationship is dead, as Eddie Hearn said today. Terence Bud Crawford is, as Bob Arum explained, probably the best fighter in the world, but he doesn't feel he promotes himself. I hear what Bob is saying. Terence Crawford, when he's on... See, the thing is, the Terence Crawford that we see off camera is not the one that we see on camera. The one on camera is really serious, kind of comes across boring. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the one off camera... Like sometimes when you see him when things are being recorded and he doesn't actually know it's been recorded, you can clearly see that Terence Crawford is quite funny and quite a lot. He's got character. I remember when he was fighting Khan, behind the scenes, or when he was fighting Amir Khan behind the scenes. I don't know whether he knew that it was being recorded, and you could clearly see how how he was laughing and making jokes with his team. He's clearly a funny guy. He's clearly a guy that, is a family man, a team man. He loves the people around him. So to be honest with you, I don't understand why this man's not sold, because he's not played the villain. He's playing the kind of good guy. And I just don't think people have gravitated to him like they should. I think he's a really good fighter. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a genuine guy. He lives the life as a boxer. He lives the life. He stays in the gym. But he just doesn't seem to get the respect for some reason, and he deserves it because he's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. Yeah, you can say his resume is weak. He's not managed to fight the top welterweights. But nonetheless, I just think that... I just don't think he gets the respect. I hear people saying that, Spence should get 60-40. And I'm thinking, I'm with Crawford here. I think it should be 50-50. Look at what Crawford's achieved in his career. And look what Spence... Spence is a unified champion. Crawford's a 3-weight world champion. Was an undisputed 140-pound champion. I just don't know how you can make a case for for Spence to get 60% over Terence Crawford. I just don't get it. And you know what? It's sad because the majority of the boxing fans are against Terence Crawford. He has his following. He has his fans that stick up for him and support him. But they're very few and far between. They're very few and far between, unfortunately, with Crawford. Which is sad. When you got guys like Mayweather who built up their reputation. Mayweather was probably the best self-promoter in boxing. Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, Canelo, these guys were quite lucky as well. They could fight, of course, but they had a country behind them, which unfortunately Terence Crawford doesn't have. In America, it's very difficult for the American audience to get behind you. They're into other sports. There's so many sports, and boxers really in America aren't that big. They aren't that big, let's be real. They're not that big at all, unfortunately. I don't know why, but they're not that big. Unless you're a Floyd, unless you're a Pacquiao, they're really not that big, if I'm honest with you. Canelo as well, but, some of the really big superstars. But apart from that, there's not really that many superstars in America, really. And Terence Crawford, unfortunately, because of his character on camera. People just haven't gravitated to him. People find him quite boring. They think he's got a dull personality. I've seen so many people online say that about Terence Crawford, but he just hasn't got that gift of that gab, you know, that you need on camera. He doesn't listen. Maybe he could, but he doesn't want to act like a clown. Like he said, why do I have to act like a clown? Why do I have to go and act, you know, be a loudmouth guy? Why do I have to be like that? Why can't I just be myself? He doesn't want to be like that. And I think people should respect that. He's trying to play a good... But then having said that, unfortunately, in this business, those type of characters go far. And especially if you can fight. Look at McGregor, what he did in the UFC. He took it to another level. Mayweather. Again, you know, Pacquiao, like I said, these guys were lucky. They had a country behind them. So it's a completely different scenario. Pacquiao, if he was an American, maybe Pacquiao would have got it because Pacquiao's achievements are so great. But I don't think he would be as big if he wasn't Filipino, because let's not forget, he's like an icon in the Philippines. He's an icon in the Philippines. So that helps when you've got a massive country behind you, when your whole country stops when you fight. The crime rate stops. You know, unfortunately with Terence, he doesn't really have that. He doesn't have that kind of support. Maybe in Omaha. But apart from that, he's not really got that. Not many people know him. I go on this guy's social media and the guy's got like 170,000 followers on Twitter. And I'm thinking, flipping hell. For one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, that's pretty terrible. That's terrible, really. He should be having millions of followers with the kind of talent he's got. The best fighter in the world. You know? It's not good. He should be way well more known than he is. And I feel for the guy because the guy's a quality fighter. He deserves the respect, but he's not getting it. And now you've got the guy that's supposed to be making him a bigger star is coming out and saying he needs to do more. A lot of people are criticizing Arum, saying that what's Arum doing? But Bob Arum's right in a way. He is right. Listen, Bob Arum's trying to promote him, but Terence Crawford has to do more, really. Terence Crawford has to, but like I said, then he doesn't want to do that. So it's kind of listen, Terence Crawford may be happy with what he's doing in boxing. He may be happy. He might be happy earning $6 million. He may be happy with that. He may be happy. He may not care that, you know, he's not making Canelo money or he's not making 30, 40 million. Some people are content. Because what you got to understand, if he keeps picking up $5, $6 million paychecks every fight, that's not small money. That's a lot of money. That accumulates. You have 10, 15 fights like that, 4, 5 million. How much money is that? 100 million? He's happy. He's content. He's content, you know? And eventually he's going to get the fight with Spence. He's going to get the fight with Pacquiao. You know, might not get it with Pacquiao, but he's going to get the fight with Spence, which is going to pay him 10, 15 million dollars. So eventually Crawford's going to get that big fight. And when he does, he's going to get paid multi-millions for it. So at the end of the day, like I keep saying, that although Crawford hasn't got the name, eventually his time will come. Eventually he'll get that big fight. And while he is waiting for that big fight, he's getting paid. He's getting paid, what, 4 to 6 million every fight. You know, I know we got paid, what, 5.5 million to fight Amir Khan. He got 4 million to fight Kell Brook. I'm pretty sure he got 4 or 5 million to fight Kavalauskas. So he's picking up paychecks, Crawford. He's picking up paychecks. He's picking up paychecks. But Bob Arum's right. Bob Arum's probably frustrated because he feels that he's one of the best fighters in the world, but I'm losing so much money on this guy. And Terence Crawford's just saying, if I'm such a loss, if I'm such a not an asset to you, then release me so I can go and make fights with PBC. And that would be great for world boxing if Bob Arum does that. I don't think he'd do it. And I actually think they'll try to work something out. Because really, if you look, I think Terence Crawford needs to go freelance when his contract finishes. And let's not forget, Terence Crawford in 2018 re-signed with Top Rank. He didn't have to. Right? So you have to blame him as well. Because Top Rank probably paid him an upfront fee and he probably accepted it. He probably took the money. So I don't think this guy is that ambitious in terms of money. And I don't think he wants to be paid crazy money in the sense where I think 4 or 5 million for one of the best fighters in the world per fight is not a lot of money, really. It's not a lot of money. With the money that Terence Crawford's been getting paid lately, $4 or $5 million, for his talent, ability, what he's achieved in the game, isn't a lot of money, is it? When you think about it. It's not a lot of money. You know, when you think about some of what the other guys are getting paid. You know, there's other guys, lesser fighters, getting paid that. You know, so unfortunately with Terence Crawford, he's happy with what he's getting. But his name is just not growing like it should be. He should be a superstar in America, you know. But unfortunately, he's not. And he'll never will be. Because for me, Andre Ward never really picked off either. Andre Ward never really became a superstar in America. You know, and he was a pound-for-pound best. You know, the only... You could say the real superstar was Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao, really, of our generation. They were the ones that crossed over. Apart from that, Canelo now is doing well. But even Canelo's not on those two levels. I think those two are on another level. And I don't think we'll probably get anything close to those two again. They were just stars, you know, huge stars. And they could fight, of course. They were the best fighters of our generation as well, by a mile. Both of them were pound for pound best, number 2, 1. It was always between them. They were the greatest, those two. And Crawford right now is the best, but it's like he isn't as famous as he should be, really. There's guys that are not even as anywhere near Crawford's level that are probably more famous than him and more well known than him, which is not a good look. When the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world is not that well-known around the world. You know, of course, the hardcore boxing fans know who Terence Crawford is. But the casuals, some of them probably don't know who Terence Crawford is. And he should be known. He should be massive. He should be massive. He should have millions and millions of followers. Like, look at Ryan Garcia, for example. Never even been a world champion. And he's more famous than Terence Crawford. Think about it. He's more famous than Terence Crawford. That's serious stuff. You know, the best pound-for-pound fighter. And you wouldn't, back in the day, you probably wouldn't have got that, ever. That a guy that's never even been a world champion is more famous than the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Look at Ryan Garcia's social media numbers. You know, Ryan Garcia has made himself a star. Unfortunately, Terence Crawford hasn't managed to do that. He hasn't managed to do that. And he's a great fighter. Ryan Garcia may not be nothing compared to Crawford. But it's just the fact that, you know, Ryan Garcia's got personality. He's got a fan base. He's got looks. Not to say Crawford hasn't. It's just that Crawford doesn't appeal the way certain people do. Maybe it's the way he is. People just haven't gravitated to him for certain reason. And I feel like people look for a reason to hate on Crawford rather than appreciate him. And I feel he deserves a lot more respect. And I actually tweeted today that, you know, Terence Crawford's a special talent. Put some respect on his name. Because he's the best fighter in the world. And I think his career is good. I hope his career just don't float by and it leaves us and we realise when he's finished that what a special talent this guy was. And we didn't really appreciate him. We didn't really appreciate him. And I think the only way he's going to get appreciated is if he gets to that Pacquiao fight, gets that Spence fight, and then we get to see what he's about. Because until then, I just don't think we're gonna appreciate this guy. He deserves a lot of respect, man. Some of the things that he's done in the game is exceptional, and I think people now understand he's really good. They just want now to see it against a Spence, a Pacquiao. But let's see, man. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, Terence Crawford can sort things out with Bob Arum. But I think that relationship is sour now. I don't know whether it will be able to be sorted out. It's inevitable. I think once his contract's up, I can't see him renewing it and I can see him leaving. And then things will start to get interesting. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to smash that like button. It really helps the channel. It really helps me. Smash that like button. Get as many likes on this video as you can. I'd really appreciate it. Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.